Yeah, Mario's last name is in fact Mario. It's just Mario.
Mm.
Anyway,
Good.
what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Who What Now Gaming, podcast for consumers by consumers, where we ask the questions: who are you, what got you into gaming, and what type of gamer are you now? I am your humble host, Josh Stewart, and today we have a returning champ, a champ of champs, and a list of corrections from our previous episode. Please welcome back, Tom.
Thank you again for having me. I'm glad that I didn't just ruin our whole friendship with the last episode.
Yeah, there's two comments on the YouTube, and one of them is like, "You guys did fantastic, it's amazing," and the other one's like, "Here's a list of corrections that I saw that was wrong with."
It's fine. The first one, the lizard game, ukulele.
Lizard game, ukulele.
I think that in the moment, I thought the name was ukulele and was thinking, no, that can't be it. It's just an instrument. But anyway, ukulele, quite good. Rare is the game, the studio. Oh man, now we're gonna get corrected here.
All right, back in the comments.
That's fine. And then Death Stranding, the walking simulator.
Walking simulator, yes. And then mine was, it is not Happy Pill, contrary to belief. It is We Happy Few. So thank you to Xanderdog on YouTube for setting us straight. It's the only way we're going to get better. But do it again. Oh, man. Welcome back, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back.
How's life in the mansion?
It's good. We're getting in, it's our peak wedding season, so there's a wedding there tomorrow. It'll be
nice.
It'll be good. It'll be beautiful. I just like to, stay in the background. I don't want to get in anybody's way.
Nice. Yeah, that's well, before we get into, the gaming stuff, how you liking, being in the like mansion, bed and breakfast, wedding scenery?
I love it. It's completely different than what I went to school for. I went to business school, and
Did you?
I did. Yeah, I have a degree in information systems management and supply chain management. And I worked for Penske for 8 years and loved working for Penske, but my wife found this opportunity for us on Instagram, which was wild. And
that is a wild place to find a job opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, she and I did meet online. So
yeah, so my wife and I.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That's cool. But yeah, it's we really like it. I learned a lot in the first year. I'm still learning a lot every day. And so now that we've been in it for a year, we are doing a little bit more to advertise. And so it's really good timing that you have this and a little extra outlet, portal, whatever you want to call it, medium.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think, let's see, I've been there twice. Absolutely look forward to doing another one. Usually our meetups at the mansion are Dungeons and Dragons related, but I mean, how can you not?
I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that I thought of it. I forgot to write this down. A friend of mine that I see usually like once or twice a year, we go on a snowboarding trip together. He, big fan of tabletop games, and not just D&D tabletop games. Although he has a Star Wars tabletop game that is wild, and it was like $150 box game with a lot of pieces. There was a tabletop game that we played. There were two that I want to bring up, and they're very similar to one another. One is called Resistance.
Yep.
You basically you lie to your friends.
Yep.
That's the whole game, and some people are telling the truth, and you're trying to figure out who's the liar. But then the one we played this year, first time we played it, Secret Hitler. So instead of resistance or rebels and faction, empire and whatever, it is fascists and non-fascists, and then there's a Hitler person. And so at one point, if you like enact these policies, it's a little more involved. It's a little more fun. I mean, I think of that as like a tabletop game for sure, even though it's not. It's completely different than like building a character and shit. You just get handed a card and you're like, okay, this is who I am for this round. it leaves it entirely up to imagination.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we love anything from like board games, TTRPGs. The when we had Evan on the show, we talked about like there were characters that, or there's one character specifically that spawned from a night where we just played like a board game, which I think is down here somewhere on my board game shelf. Sheriff of Nottingham, I think is what it's called. But basically, it's a game where you just lie to your friends, and we go into it on that episode, and
That was a good episode, by
yeah,
the way.
it's a fun, like sometimes even the most like simplest of a design game can be the most imaginative and most like enjoyable
Oh yeah.
with like a group of people. It really is like a good time.
And it's easy to adapt to a large group of friends. Like, there are 8 of us that share this house that we rent in West Virginia. And
Yeah.
so, man, it's so much easier to play that kind of game with that many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would. I wonder. I wonder if our friend of the show Noah has played any of these Star Wars like tabletop games.
That's a good question. He
'Cause
might even have it if he hasn't, or if he's already
Hmm.
played it too, depending. I swear that I've seen, because he has a ton of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No, he's a huge fan. I might have to reach out after this episode and maybe see, because I think it'd be kind of fun. Maybe we all get together and play that. It'd be kind of fun.
I would love to learn a new tabletop game. And that's, I didn't end up playing it there because we're trying to utilize mountain time, and then like
Yeah.
just exhausted. And so I'm like, let's not take a whole day to learn. Like, it doesn't take a whole day to learn a new rule set, but I don't know. I like to dive into something right away.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, I mean, I've been looking at, trying to put more content out on like the YouTube page. Might be kind of fun just to, have like the reoccurring guests of the show kind of get together and do like a table kind of like game session kind of thing.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. So welcome.
Thank you.
We are part 2 of the last episode, where we kind of just hit a bunch of the video games and such. But I think for this episode, it'd be a lot more it'd be like a lot, not like a lot more fun, but like, fun in a different aspect, to kind of dive into, almost like the things we don't think about for the games, like the deeper, aspect. You had sent me a message a while back, talking about like voice actors and like the, quotable moments. And it kind of had me, thinking that like, yeah, games can be extremely fun, but it's not all the time is the gameplay itself the most memorable moments of a game. And sometimes it's, how a scene plays out, or the things that people say during your games that really give you the emotional like connections, emotional feelings, and all that stuff. So I think, I wrote down a couple voice actors and voice like moments that I was thinking about.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of deep dive into it.
Please, by all means.
So the first one that kind of came to mind was probably recently, because Noah and I are playing through all of the Mass Effects. And man, Noah's gonna get on me about this, because I can't remember anybody's names in the game.
I didn't play him.
It's driving me crazy.
I've
Really?
only played a few hours of Mass Effect Andromeda, and I just kind of like lost it. I didn't lose the game physically. I just like stopped playing, and I tried to play the first one, and it again just I didn't stick with it. It was after they had all come out, and I heard just a ton of bad feedback about the third one, and how like, oh, your actions are supposed to like make consequences, and it's basically all the same thing. And it's funny that you're bringing that up, because that is kind of how the ending for Prey is. Like, maybe that was why Prey, the game that I brought up last time,
yeah,
and maybe why that got bad reviews. And I know that it gets a lot of bad feedback because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Did you play all the Mass Effects?
I have played them previously, like 15 plus years ago.
Okay.
And or whenever the latest or the most recent one came out is probably when I played that one. But I remember them being really fun and enjoyable, but I did not get to play them like back to back to back to back. So I got the first one and I played it through, and then I moved on to a different game, and I played other games for a while, and then I came back to Mass Effect 2, and then I went through there, and I think from 2 I went into 3, somewhere in there. So like there was like a little bit of like grace period between some of the games. And um I have a thought on the how it is and my feelings for it and everything, and we actually have an episode coming out in a couple weeks with Noah where we deep dive into all of the Mass Effects, basically everything from Noah's passion for the game and my memory of 15 plus years of the game. And yeah, it's I get it corrected a lot. Like
Hey, it's fine. No will be the master.
Yeah,
in this one.
yeah. So,
It'll be
but
cool. It'll be good to learn about the games. I've heard
yeah,
good things. A friend of mine, actually my old roommate Pat, he was a big fan of the Mass Effect series. He loved Commander Shepard. I guess everybody loves Commander Shepard. Like
the main person of the game.
yeah, right. It's who you are. And Commander Shepard is he's not. You're not a loner. You have your crew.
Yeah,
But don't you like you pick your backstory? You pick if you're like a like some war hero, or you pick if you're like from some like outer world.
kind of.
Okay.
So Noah and I were actually just talking about this. Because he had asked what background I went with. And I don't know.
You don't even remember.
I don't even think I had the option, or I probably skipped past it by accident. But I am apparently a soldier, or whatever the category gives me, like the
Like a
soldier,
war
like
hero or
something
something.
like that. Yeah.
I think that a lot of people loving Commander Shepard is why it was rough for people didn't naturally like Mass Effect Andromeda because of now it's a whole different
New character, new galaxy.
yeah, literally a different galaxy.
Yeah.
So, and I enjoyed it for the I probably put like 4 or 5 hours into the game, but then sometimes life gets too busy. Last time I said that I was going to play The Witcher 3, I haven't played a video game since the last episode. Unfortunately,
weirdly enough, I actually have not been playing as many video games as I want to. Weirdly, because running the video game podcast, but just kind of life things have gotten a little chaotic lately, and that just happens. But I think that's what this is really all about. What I wanted this whole podcast to be about in the first place is that we're casual gamers. We're all adults, living adult lives.
yeah,
And doing our best to kind of make it through this thing we call life, and also finding the happy and joyful moments, to be able to kind of take a step back and realize, like, hey, not everything has to be so serious all the time. And
right.
you kind of you get to sit in the back seat, is what I'm saying, and kind of just be something else, do something else, live an adventure, kind of thing. And so when I'm not like working or being a spouse or a parent, I'm working on the show, and I'm running and playing in a D&D game. But then also like I'm just like catching up on like shows and stuff. Like a huge show right now is Shogun.
Oh, I haven't
I haven't even
started it
started
yet.
it. Nope, I
Same.
haven't started it. And then I'm getting a lot of like shit from people who are like, "How have you not watched this yet?" And I'm like, "I just started Archer again." And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man."
Sometimes it's comfortable to rewatch something that
Yeah.
even if it's just in the background.
Do you have a comfort show? Like the show where you're like, if you just need to let your mind melt, or like maybe you're just in the feels that week and you just need a show that you're so comfortable with, you know that it's gonna make you feel a certain way?
Probably Avatar: Last Airbender.
Really?
Oh yeah. I've seen the series through several times, and it's not something that I put on in the background either, because
Yeah.
then it becomes the foreground. Like I
Right.
immediately start paying attention to it. As long as, like, maybe not season 1. I mean, season 1 is fine, but it's, much more childish than season 2 and 3. Like, I love that show.
Well, let me ask you this. Before I go into mine, I have only seen sporadic episodes of Avatar. I never got into it when it was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And so I never got into it.
I only ever saw it sporadically when it was on TV. It wasn't until college that, I torrented the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I have access to this now.
Yeah. Well, what would you, if you were to try to like sway somebody to watch the show? Like if you were going to try to convince me to watch the show, like what makes it great?
That's, man, how much time do you have? I will in it, that's
45 minutes.
Fair enough. I love the concept. I love that it's magic.
Yeah.
It's not Harry Potter magic. It's also not Lord of the Rings magic. It's like elemental manipulation.
Yeah, it's like
it's not even
magic, right?
but it, in the grander scheme of things, like there are some people who have magic powers over either air, fire, water, or earth. And that, like, the concept alone is great, but then, the characters and even, some of the episodes get a bad rep. Some of the dialogue is a little weird. There's this one, there's something to sway you, especially to get to the later season, because I think that this is in the final season when they're in the Fire Nation. Spoiler alert.
Well, haven't they moved on to like now, like Aang's like adult, and it's like the Korra
Legend of Korra. I haven't actually watched Legend of Korra yet.
Oh, okay.
I've heard good things, but I want to. That's like, I'm gonna take a weekend and just watch it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Through and through, and that it sounds great, and I would love to plan that out. But
it's gonna be really hard to do when like a bride comes up to you and is like, "Hey,
oh,
there's a wedding," and you're like, "Can you knock it off right now?"
Can you see I'm busy? Just a projector screen in their space.
Yeah, you're just behind them while they're doing vows and stuff, and you're like, "Can you keep it down?" Actually,
it's funny. I say weekend, but nowadays my weekend, I mean like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, that's your weekend.
Yeah, because those are the days where
right.
Not a ton happens. I mean, we still have to get work done, but it's not. There's not a ton of events. It's like a calm week, and then it's just mayhem in the weekend. Not quite mayhem, but
I mean,
I enjoy it.
I'm sure there's a bit of chaos to it. I mean, it's maybe organized chaos. It's a lot of work, but it's also, it's a wedding. I mean, it's a special day for somebody in their lives. Like,
absolutely, a lot of money in the wedding industry. It's people are gonna continue getting married.
Yeah, I got married once, and
good for
it's
you.
A lot of money. So I think I will give Avatar a shot, and
I forgot to Sparky Boom Man. That's who
Sparky Boom Man.
Yeah, there's it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
and a lot of the characters are it's all cartoony. I don't want to like badmouth anything, because I love it and I love the design of the show. But then there's this one villain that has this like a little extra eye thing here, and he just shoots this, like, I don't know if it's like an exploding laser beam is the best way that I can describe it.
Are we talking about Dragon Ball Z?
It's not from Dragon Ball Z. He might as well be a Dragon Ball Z character, though. God, speaking of good shows and a few good games as well.
That is a mountain I will die on.
Dude, Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my Yeah, dude. That is my stuff.
I watched a lot of Dragon Balls in like a Dragon Ball as well, like younger
Oh
Goku
yeah, dude. I like that was my first
with the
introduction.
tail.
Yeah, that was my first introduction when like the show that like because I think it originally aired in like 90 I don't know, it's somewhere between like 93 and 97. And then and it just like it's still going.
Oh
And it's
yeah,
still so good,
I haven't
man.
seen anything in
Except
the
for
last
GT. Come
like
at me.
I haven't seen anything in the last like 10 or 15 years Dragon Ball Z related.
What? Dude, this last arc is insane.
Is it Dragon Ball Super? Is that what it is
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yeah, and basically we have gotten to a point where
Goku is a god now, right?
kinda
okay.
almost. So Goku has died since like 1995, maybe 15 times, probably. I don't know. I'm probably so off. He's probably been like 3. But
what if Goku is also Link?
Goku is Doom Guy. Okay. um yeah, but the you basically they're now going off world, and it's now it's called the Tournament of Power. And basically like from all these different I forget if they're like dimensions or like pockets or something of like the universe and stuff, but they basically are holding a so there's like the Dragon Balls that are on Earth, right? And then there's also Dragon Balls that are sizes of planets that are also kind of like they've been there so long that like some things have grown on them. Like they're just these massive things. So then
Wow.
if you collect the Dragon Balls on Earth, you get like basically what's now just a petty wish. Like the things that we were wishing for on Earth, that's baby shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
You
this
shat
is like
that up for breakfast.
yeah, like you're like, oh, I want my friend to come back from the dead. And he's like, oh, it's going to take a lot of power, but I could do it. But then you get these ones that are size of planets, and they're like, we want to reset the universe, and they're like, easy,
Done.
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
So they hold basically this tournament of power, and it's the most powerful beings in all of existence. That are you know the fighters, the ones who host the show or the tournament are even more powerful than that, and they're like gods. Um, and so it is just like 50 something plus episodes of just one tournament, and it is sick.
Damn.
So good.
There isn't like a whole episode charging Spirit Bomb.
There
Is there maybe a few?
We haven't strayed super far away.
Okay.
There is definitely a full episode where Goku gets the shit beat out of him, and then it's like the show is now introducing yet another transformation.
He's Super Saiyan 12.
Dude, it's the Super Saiyan of Super Saiyans to the point where it's called Ultra Instinct. And his hair goes white, and he gets all sparkly, and his shirt blows off every time. And and then
he can't be Goku with a full shirt on.
It's everything is instinctual. So like his mind and body will react before his consciousness can understand what's happening, and he goes like real like stone faced and everything. It's sick. I'm not even bashing it, but it is so sick.
Damn.
But you do spend a whole episode basically watching him try to stand up, and you're like, I get it, man.
It's rough.
It's kind of, yeah, we get it, dude. Like, but yeah, I mean, that one might even be one of my comfort shows.
Have you ever played any of the Dragon Ball Z games?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Xenoverse 2 was probably my favorite to like dive into, but that was more of like a play through the story of. I think the last one that I played was Kakarot, which was pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay. I only ever played one of them, and it was just a fighting game. Like it was.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was called, but
well, they're all pretty much fighting games.
I mean, it was now there's like they have the open world system.
Yeah.
Where the one that I played was before that. I just remember I picked Frieza.
Was it kind of choppy? Like everything was kind of choppy movements.
I don't think so. I actually really enjoyed the combat and like especially with like, throwing a Kamehameha into the middle of this fight in a video game.
Yeah.
I just remember being Frieza and having like 3 lives just because of these like little extra upgrades I got because I was not good. I took a lot of damage. I needed all 3 of those lives.
Yeah, that's one of those like shows like I have like I won't touch like a Dragon Ball Z game, and then like the new season of Dragon Ball Z will come out, and then or new season of Dragon Ball will come out, and I'll be like, all right, I gotta watch this, and then I'll get a good handful of episodes in it, and I'm like, this is my personality now. Like everything that I do right now is all related.
I remember who I am.
Yeah. And then like eventually I'll finish the show, and then I'll play the game until I'm pretty satisfied, and then like Naruto will come around, and I go, now I'm a ninja. This is my life now. This is my personality. Like I just get so hyper fixated on stuff. Like as
long as you're not unhealthy about it, then whatever.
I'm just in the back doing weird push-ups and stuff. Like I will get stronger.
There are worse things to obsess about,
Well, I think my comfort show, even though I have all those great things to say about those, like animes and stuff, Futurama, dude.
Love Futurama. I just got Wendy to watch it with me.
Oh, really?
Yep, she'd never seen it before, and this was the first time that I had seen the newest season as well. That just came out last year.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
No, I liked it. Yeah.
It was pretty good. I like that they make fun of, like, one of those things I liked about those shows so much is that they make fun of current events. But Futurama's been off the air for so long, so they've got like 10 years to catch up on, and it's been so nice.
I loved the jump and like the transition, and the like, oh, everything's the same now. There's also have you seen the newest season yet?
Yes.
The episode about the simulation.
Yes.
Wendy was so pissed.
Yeah, because Wendy hates simulation talk. Yeah. Oh man, I keep forgetting that. Yeah, my biggest fear about the show was that when it ended with the previous season. For those you don't know, Futurama is a futuristic show that basically follows the life of Fry, who is this beautiful ginger man who was a pizza delivery guy back in 1999. Yeah, that's right, because of the millennium. So 1999 delivers a pizza on Y2K, and he gets a delivery for a cryogenic like science like place or whatever.
He delivers to a cryogenic freezing facility
for to be delivered to a person by the name of Seymour Butts.
It's Icy Wiener.
Oh, is that?
Yep.
Oh, man, correction again.
Seymour is the name of the person he's delivering the pizza to. That's obviously a fake name when he finds his dog in the...
Oh, you're right. Dude, that's the saddest episode on the planet.
I'm glad that there's a bit of an arc.
Yeah.
I also loved the arc of Kif's children.
Yeah.
Because when we were going through it, and it said, it's like, oh, now they just need to like be in here for like 22 years.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the date of the show, and I'm like, oh my God, they
It's
probably did something in the news.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, well, in the new season, they do go back, and they're like, the gestation period is done.
Oh, yeah,
and they go back.
The 3 different size.
Dude, one's like weirdly like
the
angsty emo kid and stuff. Yeah. So he goes into a cryogenic freezer, freezes himself. Now he's wakes up in the year 3000.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
So, yeah, we got Zoidberg, who's like what is like a octopus crab man thing.
He's a doctor. Too.
He's a doctor. Well, he's kind of a doctor. And then you have Leela, who's a cyclops. And then you have Fry's great nephew.
Yeah, they
the
say
professor,
great for a while,
who is significantly older than he is, and they own a and then Fry's best friend is a robot who is an alcoholic.
Bending Rodriguez.
Yeah, who was manufactured in Mexico.
Rodriguez.
And dude, and it's such a great show. It's honestly, it's one of those ones I can sit down and really just enjoy.
You have the Planet Express ship right
I
up
have the
there.
Planet Express ship up there. I have the Slurm koozies right over here
That's
under
beautiful.
the TV. Yeah, I love that show.
Slurms Mackenzie.
So before I have to make a choo choo, here comes the derail part 2. Let's get back to this
To video games. So, did you ever play the Futurama game?
No.
I did,
Yep.
and I liked it. I didn't beat it. I got stuck somewhere and then stopped playing it. It's pretty old at this point.
What's it for? I don't actually.
I probably
can't
had
think
it
of it.
either for the Xbox or the Xbox 360, or maybe it was back in my PS2 days.
I wonder if it was kind of like like Simpsons tried to do the same thing, but then we haven't had another Simpsons like.
Oh yeah, I never played the Simpsons game.
I did a little bit. I had a friend who had it, and I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "This game is cutting edge. Like, this is the coolest stuff I've ever seen." And then, like, now as an adult looking back, I'm like, "Ooh, this was rough. Like,
This does not hold up."
Yeah, like this is
weird true crime streets of New York shit.
Dude, yeah. You're just like you're like Homer who like gets done from the bar, gets an idea to get some money. Now he's driving people around, but he's also like bad mouthing everybody, and then he's like running over stuff, driving through yards, hitting trash cans, mailbox. You can like hit people. And you're like, this was a game that we all played. Like, so with Mass Effect, I was
Wow.
here we go. Mass Effect, the pilot of the I think it's called the Nautiloid. Sorry, Noah.
Is it the Nautilus?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's just a word that I know.
yeah. The pilot is played by Seth Green, who is very famous for Chris Griffin and Robot Chicken, and that one weird American Pie movie with the Amish dude. I don't even know if it was American Pie.
I don't know if I saw that. I'm right now. Wendy and I are watching. I've never seen a lot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he's in.
Oh, dude,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Well, I almost said, yeah, dude.
I don't spoil anything for me.
Yeah,
I'm on season 3 right now.
Side note with Buffy, dude, my dad is such a Buffy fan that when we were like when my sister and I were like younger, before school every day we would catch the last week episode and then this week's episode, and we would just watch them. And then when that episode was done, we had to get to school. So for like every morning, and it was like it got to a point where like if you didn't wake up on time, we're not explaining anything to you. And like it was nuts.
Oh no.
So then it started killing me because like I ended up going to the high school while my sister was still in middle school. Well, I had to be at school an hour earlier than she did. Oh, so I was missing every episode. So for years I didn't know how like, and then all of a sudden like the show, they were like, this is the final episode and everything.
What?
And like, yeah. And like, I'm like, my dad would never let us stay home. We had to be bleeding on fire or profusely throwing up to be able to stay home. But my sister, he'll never listen to this because, my sister is his favorite child, by far. And it was like, I'm like, oh, Dad, I got a field trip. Can I have $5? And he goes, like, get wrecked, scrub. He'd be like, go find a way. Why don't you go mow a yard? But my sister will be like, oh, I want shoes, and they're like $200. And he'll be like, here you go. Here's $300. Here's cab fare stuff. Yeah.
Like, do your daughters call him Poopy? Is that something that
poo poo?
Poo-poos. Okay.
Yeah. The nickname came from just like a baby translation of words, and we're like, that's hilarious. We're gonna keep going, kind of thing. Yeah, we tried doing Pop Paulie.
Is his name Paul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes
more sense.
Frank. We don't know where Paul came from. But yeah, it was like this. We were like, just call him like Pop. and then somebody made like a poop joke or something, and then forever on it's been poo poo, and we're like, yeah, whatever,
That's
it
his name
works,
now.
and
Yep.
that's what we call them. Um, so voice actors. I'm a mess this episode. We are everywhere, but you know
So
what?
much. We have so much to talk
I
about.
think that's just that's our conversation. This is gonna be like this is how every one of our episodes is gonna go.
Yep.
So I wrote down
Nothing
a
but
couple.
tangents.
Mark Hamill. I know, I get it. Okay, Star Wars, we got it. Okay, but let's pull away from the Star Wars. All right,
His voice acting career is phenomenal.
amazing.
He, sorry, continue.
Flippin' Joker,
Oh yeah,
dude. I mean, I have a favorite like Joker from like movies and stuff. But Mark Hamill will forever be my favorite Joker voice.
it's
It
the
is
best.
so good. Like every time I hear that Joker laugh, the Joker like tone in the voice and stuff, it gives me like the goosebumps because I'm just like it reminds me of when I sat down and I went through the Batman like Arkham games, and I'm like, this is like I just immediately get flooded with those feelings again. It's so good.
I didn't actually play the Arkham games.
What the fuck are we doing here? You have to. They're so good, dude.
Okay.
They're really they're. I mean, the first one's weird, but I mean, story wise, they just keep getting bigger.
I've heard good things,
yeah.
and I've heard somebody compared it to the combat style. They compared it to Spiderman, and
yeah, in a way, yeah.
the new Spider-Man. I actually didn't play the newest.
You haven't played Spider-Man 2?
No,
Oof. Well, I mean, you can beat it in 18 hours.
Wow.
So, I mean, block off a 2-day thing and knock it out.
Yep.
It is fantastic. Not to shit on it.
Get yourself a shit bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it is the only reason that I have an issue with Spider-Man 2 is that it was too short and I didn't feel like there was enough content.
Oh, okay.
It's that good. Like, it's not like
you didn't want it then.
Yeah, and it was so good and so like I felt for Miles Morales. I felt for Peter, and then like what they do.
I forgot that they bring in Miles.
Oh yeah,
in the new game, because I saw Across the Spider-Verse, or I didn't see the newest movie either, but I saw the.
What are you doing with your life?
I'm watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm working in an inn,
doing weddings and watching Buffy.
Yep, I'm just living in the past, I guess, which is it's fine sometimes.
I love it. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Well, so first one was Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
That was phenomenal.
I think I own that movie.
Yeah, I think I do too. I actually own both of them now.
I think I have it on my I think I bought it, or maybe I couldn't buy it on my Xbox and I have it on DVD. Either way.
Yeah, I bought it on the Apple TV thing that we have. And my daughters both love like Spider-Man, which is awesome because I also love Spider-Man. So we'll go through, and Into the Spider-Verse was their first introduction to Miles Morales. Because
nice.
Obviously they're too small to play the games or like read the comics and stuff, so that was their first introduction. And then when Across the Spider-Verse came out, I was like, we're going to see this in the movies. So I took them to the theater, and that was a trip, dude. Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm going to go back and watch it in other ways, and it was just so colorful and beautiful. And then like getting like something about that opportunity as like a Spider-Man fan to be able to sit down with my kids and explain the background Spider-Man that were like around, and I'm just like,
oh man,
oh dude, it was so good.
You get to be the coolest dad in that very moment.
I mean, I'm the coolest dad every moment. I don't know if you've noticed. Yeah, but it really is. It was really cool to be able to like have these conversations, and the soundtrack to Into the Spider-Verse and Across the
Oh
Spider-Verse
my God.
are phenomenal, to the
I
point where like we'll be driving and my youngest will be like, put on Spider-Man, put on Spider-Man. And I'm like, I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, some gym days I put on the soundtrack to the Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's good. It is so good. Everything about that movie, it needs it needs more awards. Come up with some and give them to that. Like it's such a damn good movie. Like the art in it and how each scene or each time you see like a new character or like Spider-Man from like a different, universe, they're done in the original comic, like,
Sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
In like the animation style.
Yeah.
That's I loved it.
It's
It's
so good.
phenomenal. I also
Fucking watch it
love
today.
how it kind of ties in the comic book stuff, and once in
Yeah.
a while you get a little speach bubble. Like
It's
that's
so good.
something that you just the little things like that.
Well, even in like
Mwah.
Spider-Punk, the way that the animation is done, there's like I want to say like documentary, but like, if when you buy the movie, how there's like those extras and everything.
Yeah.
So in there, they're talking about like how they like made it and the design of it and everything. Spider-Punk, is the rebel from UK, right?
Okay.
But the comic was always made in a very like ba-down, ba-bow kind of way, right?
Over the top.
So the animation style, Spider-Punk's movements only happen every 3 frames of the show, whereas Miles Morales might work every, like I think it's like 2 frames, and then Gwen, who's more of like a watercolory flow kind of thing, works on every like,
Higher frame rate.
yeah. So like each character, depending on how they were originally like designed in their comic books, will move at different frame rates,
That's
and it
bizarre.
is beautiful.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's those attentions to like the details that I love so much. What I think makes it so damn amazing.
In the first Spider-Man game for PS4, I 100%ed it, and
Okay, so well, we
I'm
might
not
have to go. We might have to go back.
Yeah.
What was the first Spider-Man game you played?
Oh, so it not the first one I played. Oh, fuck. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Spider-Man 2. I think it was an old Spider-Man 2, or it was something for the PS2. And I remember it just being great. It was an awesome.
Who was at the end of the game? Was it Venom or Carnage or somebody else?
I honestly I don't remember. I remember getting in. You have a fight with Mysterio, and he only takes like 1 hit. That's one of the main things that I remember from this. Like it's almost
right,
a joke of a
Yeah.
villain. Like, and it sets you up to have like this big fight, and then you hit him once and he's done. I remember the web swinging mechanics being awesome.
I gotta write that down because that's something I want to talk about.
We'll get somebody in the comments tell us which game that is. But there's actually like a specific. I have a core memory attached to that game, and it's because of these side quests that you do. Like, you would just hear some little girl go, "My balloon," and like the balloon would be floating away, and you got to get to it and bring it back to it for like a good deed. And if you like, I could never ever get to him in time, and so I tried like shooting a web at it to get it back to me, and it popped, and we get a little caution or like a bubble, and it says caution, webbing a balloon will cause it to pop. But like, I played this as like a 10, 11-year-old, and so I read it aloud and went, caution, webbing a balloon will cause it to pop. And it's just like my friend Sean Vanderpool and I laughed for 15-20 minutes straight until crying, stomachs hurting. Like, that Spider-Man game has a spot in my
good.
Yep.
That's where it's at. See, it's those moments that's what makes the game good.
Yeah.
It could be just an absolute dumpster of a game and still just be so good. I'll tell you what, actually, now that I think about it, I've had one of those moments when I was like, I think it was like my first computer, right?
The Tandy.
Yeah. First computer I got, this was back when like McDonald's, like you would go to like McDonald's and like you wouldn't get like a shitty little toy, everybody. Okay. You would get like a CD with like 3 songs on it. Or you'd get like a computer game or something, some advertisement to whatever like new thing is coming out, right?
Man,
And yeah, I'm old, dude.
I'm trying to like remember this.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember. So it was Atlantis, Lost City of Atlantis.
Oh,
Whatever
the
that.
movie.
Yeah,
Is
that
it a
came out.
Disney movie?
Came with a soundtrack in my Disney meal, or in my Disney meal, in my McDonald's meal. You know when Disney was handing out meals. But I got a. It was like that time period. I got a M&M's video game, and barely anybody ever remembers this or
Never
even
even
knows
heard
about
of
it.
this.
You play as the yellow M&M and the red
peanut M&M.
yeah, and the red M&M, and you're late for your premiere. And so the game starts with you having this conversation. It's like the old like the old graphics where like, you know, they tried to animate like a movie and then insert it in the game, you know, kind of thing. So it's like real kind of blurry, kind of like choppy and stuff. And they're like,
Grainy.
"Oh, hey, Eminem, we've got a show to get to."
Oh,
and you're like,
no.
"Oh no, we better get going right now." And they're like, "Okay," you know, it's like those days, right? So you plays the, you know, you as the yellow Eminem jump in like a car, and then you're like, it's all like it reminded me of like a Crash Bandicoot kind of thing, but before like, you know,
Before Crash Bandicoot?
like yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was out when I was playing this, but yeah, so you're like you're trying to miss like traffic, and then you eventually get to like the candy the M&M factory and everything, and it's like another cutscene. Then you go into the factory and there's like robots flying around. Like this was an in-depth game.
Wow.
And I will find this. I will find this and send it to you. It is so like ingrained into my brain as being like one of the first like computer like sit down. I was like, I'm gonna beat this damn M&M game. We're getting to the chocolate factory, you know? Like I remember
the chocolate factory.
and I remember it being so terrible and yet so good.
You
Like
loved it.
I loved it. It was so great.
That's what it's about. It's about those moments.
Absolutely.
Speaking of weird games, I'd written this down and I wanted to tell you this live. This is the only bit of game related media that I've pretty much consumed since our last.
Okay.
Other than
right.
watching this, I watch a YouTube channel called Outside Xbox and Outside Extra, and it's like they're video game journalists.
Yeah.
And I was telling you before the video about a video they did about game characters that get romanced the most statistically, in games. And so the one, it isn't even a situation, it's just an entire game that I'd never heard of before.
Baldur's Gate 3, Karlach.
It's
mommy.
The name of this game is Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator.
I am gonna blow your fucking mind.
Please tell me you've not played this.
I have not played this,
Okay.
but I have watched this game and I heard about this game and I was like, what the fuck is this? And yeah, dude, Dream Daddy Central.
It caught my eye when they like, beware spoilers for this game, and I see it and I pause them.
What if I was like, this is my favorite game of all time?
You know, I would want you to play it in front of me. I would watch you play that game. Yeah. Speaking of, God, man, another tangent. Weird games. Have you ever heard of the game Catherine? It's a puzzle game.
No, but I saw the movie Carrie.
Interesting. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Look it up sometime. Very strange. Right. The plot is very, very strange. I don't want to try to explain it here. I would love to get back to voice actors and voice lines. See, when I sent you that message, I was more thinking of what I was thinking of specifically is like things that you remember, like lines that you remember from a game. Like there's some. It's got to happen with more people than just me. But like to this day, you know, I can hear from Fable I can hear the guildmaster's voice in my head going, "Do you have any potions or food?" To the point of where it was like it was annoying in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you've received a new quest card,
Yeah.
and it's stuff like that sticks with you. And I wanted to know what were some of yours that you could think of.
Man, I think off the top of my head, and it's probably the most annoying for anyone who has ever played Skyrim, because you can immediately tell if somebody has played Skyrim or not if you were to say two lines or
Took
two,
an arrow to the knee.
took an arrow to the knee.
I was an explorer once.
Yep, and the other one is a new hand has held or touched the beacon or something like that. Yeah, it's like there's two. They're so specific to like Skyrim, where like you could just go into a crowd and just yell those lines and like almost guarantee someone's like, "What's up?" Yeah. Man, lines that were
Actually, so one now that sticks with me is from that Spider-Man game. That little girl going, "My balloon!"
Yeah.
Like it's. I can hear it in my head right now.
It's so like, well, okay. So I don't even know if it's maybe considered a line, but like Legend of Zelda, like Link never speaks.
Nope, it's the hut.
It's the hot
Classic.
Yeah, it's every time, and
Yeah.
and
it slowly evolves into when he's Doom Guy.
yeah, yeah. Update. I watched it. I learned. I get it. There's enough evidence that says in some parallel universe somewhere out there, if we were like, this is the new Bible, I'd be like, okay, he's Doom Guy. But there's also enough evidence that says it's just a coincidence.
Yep. You're
But
like, it's fine.
it is. I loved the connection so much. I accept it. I accept it. I'm happy
it's in
with
your,
it.
It's your head canon.
It's
now.
it's 100% there, and I accept it.
Yep. So there, I mentioned about the lefty thing before this, and Doom Guy apparently also switches to be right-handed at a certain point, and so like less than 1% of the population is ambidextrous.
So for those listening, the connection is that in the old games of Legend of Zelda, Link was always left-handed, which is a trait that only 1% of the population has.
I don't think that's accurate. I think being ambidextrous is like a less than 1%.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you not know the number one rule on this podcast? We don't fact check.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
No, you're probably right.
69% of people are left-handed.
Every single person is left-handed, and it's a choice to be right-handed.
I know a lot of left-handed people. Sorry.
Great people. Yeah. So Doom Guy originally was left-handed, and Link was originally left-handed. But then a game came along called Skyward Sword, where when using the Wii,
Wiimote?
Yeah, Wiimote, but everybody called them like Wii nunchucks or something. Or Wii
the nunchuck was the second one. Yeah, the like connector.
So the sensor was because the most common I guess position is for everybody to be like right-handed or whatever. So they made the motion sensor to be on the right hand, which then made Link a right-handed individual. So now we've kind of gotten to the point where like Link is ambidextrous, but so is apparently Doom Guy from like the older games into the new games, and also Doom Guy quite famously also didn't speak up until like that one game. Just like talked for a little bit and they were like, you understand? He's like, I'll do what needs to be done or something like that. And then you're like, all right, man, fantastic, cool.
Yeah. I did like the similarities between some of the enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bokoblins look like the Pinky Demons, and honestly, like as much as it's fun to talk about this this cool connection that probably isn't a thing.
Yeah,
I'd love to go play Doom right now, like Doom 3 maybe.
So
throwback.
There's maybe a segment I'll throw into one of these episodes at some point, or maybe I'll do like a collaboration episode where it'll just be like a full episode where it'll be like maybe 3 different conversations with a few people, because my dad is not a video gamer. I wouldn't say he hates video games. They don't pique his interest. There's no interest in sitting down and playing a video game.
It's fair.
But that being said, he used to game. But my dad is old as shit, Paul. So when my dad would play, my dad would like, yeah. But at my like grandmother's house when before they like moved to like a different state, they had the like original Nintendo. And so there was like Duck Hunt on there and like
Classic.
the Super Mario and like those were like a lot of like my first introductions into video games. And so he would play those, but then he also had a couple computer games. And we were just talking about this the other day where like you brought up sometimes some of the most fun you'll have is breaking a game. And that was one of those things that we did a lot on those like computer games.
Nice.
So he played like this it was like a motocross game, and at first like you're supposed to just race. Like that's the point. You know, you're on a a motocross like
dirt bike
course. Yeah. And as you're going, you do the ups, downs, the turns, it's such a great thing. But after a while, like you're like, we're not sports people, so like it kind of got old, you know. So then we're like, well, where are the limits?
Yeah, can we get outside the map?
Yeah. So the it goes ding, 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 go. Everybody takes off. We go left and just go. We're gonna see how far this map is gonna let us go, and we just keep going until you get to the very edge of the game. There is a wall, like a almost like where the texture of the hills and stuff just go straight up. And so if you ramp it and you hit it just right, going like at a downward angle, you could catch the curvature of like the edge of the map, and you'll ride the wall all the way up. And if you just tip over the edge, you get about 15 feet of like free movement. And if you go too far, it rockets you at like Mach 5 back to the course. But your character, like ragdolling, wasn't like a mechanic yet. So your guy just slowly goes into like a fetal position as like you and your bike separate, and you just watch yourself like shot out of a cannon. Dude, that simple mechanic would keep us entertained for hours. We're like, well, I wonder if we could just hit it doing this, or what if we did it at an angle, or what if we did, and we would just break the game, and it was so fun.
Those were great. Halo 2 super jumps or super bounces, whatever you wanted to call them. Loved that. Or like, you use the Banshee and a rocket launcher to like catapult yourself. Oh my god.
What was that YouTube show? It was like Red versus Blue. Did that all the time. Except they were more like story based, but yeah.
I was actually I've seen I think 7 seasons of Red versus Blue. I think there's more now.
That's insane. I have not.
It evolved with it started in
like
in
as
Halo
the games
1
went through, right?
But yeah, it takes something that's so like they found this mechanic in the game. And originally in Halo, if you were playing multiplayer and you threw all of your grenades, which was left trigger on your Xbox, like original Xbox controller, and then you held your left trigger, it would look like that was in Halo 2. I'm going to get it mixed up. We'll get fact checked in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Yeah, tell me I'm wrong.
Come at me, bro.
Call me wrong. It makes it so your gun goes down. If I think Halo 1, all you had to do was like look all the way down, and it basically made it look like you were lowering your gun, and then they talked literally just like moving back and forth.
Oh, is that how they did the okay?
The
that
camera
makes sense
work
now, actually, yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was really funny. It's a lot of sarcasm, humor. I will still quote Michael J. Caboose to this day. My name is Michael J. Caboose, and I hate babies. That's just a random line.
Yeah, and that was like starter YouTube stuff, right? Eventually, they got picked up, I think.
Yeah,
or like
they had their own episode or website for a while.
Oh,
it was on Netflix at one point, and that's how I got to watch a lot more of it. And it, they evolved it to where now it's it's completely different. It's an action movie.
Yeah.
It's not a, Halo mechanics with like a comedy plot.
Right.
But man, those are the days. Some good stuff. If you've never seen it, that would be worth a watch for
Yeah,
sure.
I've watched a couple like back when they were on YouTube. And I thought they were pretty funny. Like I've always enjoyed when people take game mechanics or game, areas or whatever, and they kind of just, when you find new enjoyment out of a game by not playing the game for what it was intended for, is
Yeah.
some of the most fun that I've ever had, either watching a game or playing a game. And it truly is just those moments of like this is a really fun, like kind of going back to my dad, like we played Star Wars pod racing for the Nintendo 64.
I loved that
Dude,
game.
we would get
I have that on my Xbox, actually.
Really?
Yeah, you can. I think it's free if you have Xbox Live.
Oh, I definitely need to do that because I have great memories for that game. Even going back to the quote thing.
Well, and this is a game where I definitely remember like lines from.
Yeah, dude, and it was like every time you would go to buy a new
new lap record.
Yeah, new lap record, or like, what was that guy's name? I feel like it started with a G. He's like blue. He's got flies around. He's like a weird looking.
Is it Guado? Oh my god,
something like that. Yeah. But he's always muttering shit in the background, and that was always like my favorite part. Yeah. Always come into my store, they look around, they never buy, and I'm just like, yeah, man, like it always sticks in my head. Like those are those moments, those like quotes. Like nobody ever the game isn't known for that, but
here we are remembering
that. Yeah, of course,
man.
I quote it still to this day. I'll be like making some food. My kids will go over, open the fridge up, and the fridge will just stay open long enough where the fridge is like beep, like, hey, it's still open.
Close me.
And I'm just like,
they come into my store. They look
around, never buy.
It's fun. My friend Kelly has a video game store, or it's like a toy store in Harrisburg, near, or maybe just outside of Harrisburg.
Okay.
She should get something of that voice line to play. Like, people coming to my store.
Dude, it's so good. Just to like keep it in the background somewhere. Like it's such a like memorable thing.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. Great game. I think there was another pod racing game that I played that I think I remember it just sucked. It was like it was the one that came out after the N64 game.
Oh, then yeah, Nintendo 64 was the only one I ever played with like pod racing, and I remember loving it.
Did you ever play? Is it Rogue Squadron? Is that the other Star Wars? That's the game where you're the pilot.
I don't know if that's what it was called, but I do know what you're talking about. Okay. If that's what, because I played that one, and then there was also one where, Gavin, I'm gonna need your help on this one again. Because we just talked about it at work. There is you play as like basically this guy who kind of looks like Han Solo, but it's not. And then you kind of like go through all the levels. It's on Nintendo 64. It was a Star Wars game. But I remember, so we kind of have to go back a little bit when movies were like starting to hit the big screen, and we're starting to move into the era of like special effects and stunt people, stunt events, stunt whatevers, right? There were sound bites that were put in. There is an incredibly famous sound bite that is put into 90% of all movies ever.
Is it the Wilhelm scream?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
Classic.
That it is and it is something that barely anybody ever notices, but my brain picks it up every single time. And like I was like when I was playing this game, the Star Wars game, there was a moment where, because I had played it so many times, because I didn't have the save cartridge for any of my games. So like unless the game could be saved, like, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where it would save on the cartridge, there was no way to save some of my games. So I have I bet you if you pulled up most Nintendo 64 games today, I couldn't tell you how to beat the game, but I could tell you how to get halfway through the game in about 2 hours or less.
Until you ran out of time to play.
Yeah. So we would when there's a point where you're going around this mountain edge, and there's like only enough room for like you to walk, and there is a trooper just around the edge, and if you were to get your camera angle correctly, you could shoot at him before that they would notice you. And if you hit him just right, he would fall off the side, and it would do the sound bite.
The Wilhelm scream.
Yes, and it was like I looked forward to it every single time, and I was like, I love this game mechanic. Then I was watching a movie with my dad, and I heard the scream, and I was like, whoa. That is from this game, and so then I started looking this up.
It originated in this game.
That was me 100% for like a year or two, and then I finally get like the actual true story of the scream, and I was like, oh, this was like,
what is the true story? Because I mean I know that it's
so
I've heard it everywhere.
Yeah, originally it was for a fall. I think it was like a Western movie or something, but
they just keep using it.
100%. It's so good that they just continue to put it in. I think it was like a Western, like it was up on something stunt guy, and they just needed like it was like one of those like old ones where it was just like, you gotta get out of here.
You gotta
chow,
yeah.
Kind of thing.
Like the guy has to fall. You also have to be really loud for the cameras or for the microphones to pick you up back then.
Dude, and it is one of the most famous sound bites that is still used today.
I can specifically think of a movie moment where I know that it exists. It's in the movie Broken Arrow, which is about a nuclear bomb being stolen in the U.S.
Yeah.
And at one point they're on a train. Of course they're on a train. Every nuclear bomb ends up being on a train. And then somebody gets like kicked off of the train when they're over this real tall bridge, and you hear the I can't. I'd love to do that scream.
It is so good. I wonder if it's public domain, like that soundbite, because if it is, I'll put it in the episode.
Be in this show.
I'll put it in the episode.
Every time I try to do it, just put it over my voice so I don't sound like a moron anymore.
Dude, this is a pattern for us,
man.
We write notes, we take these notes, and then we never kind of hit on it.
Well, so what's some of the stuff that's in your notes that you didn't get to?
So well, I'll briefly, because we actually have not even left the first subject of the beginning of the episode, which is hilarious because you text me yesterday and we're like, I don't know if they have enough things to talk about.
I was worried about like not taking enough notes, but
that's
here we are.
Part 3, so I put down for voice, like famous voice actors and lines and stuff that I could think of, and there was like first person I could think of, Matt Mercer. I looked up Matt Mercer before you got here. Matt Mercer has 456 credits on IMDb, plus 3 that are not even noted yet and are upcoming. And that's not even to count all the things that we don't know about yet.
Wow.
Matt Mercer is, shout out to Matt Mercer.
I can't think of.
I'm sorry. Did you just say who is Matt Mercer?
I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. What's a voice that he is his? Who is his voice? I think the only actor, voice actor I know the name of is H. John Benjamin.
Do you know Critical Role?
Yes.
Okay. Critical Role. Matt Mercer is the DM.
Oh.
He is also the voice of. Well, this is an awkward time to blank.
400 different things.
Yeah. So, actually, you have heard Matt Mercer probably more than you've known. The Overwatch, the cowboy dude.
Oh,
that's Matt Mercer.
McCrae.
Yeah, that's Matt Mercer. Also in I think Final Fantasy. There makes an appearance in. Actually a few shows, I want to say. Very, very, very skilled voice actor and also actor. Matt Mercer is like the top of the mountain,
the bee's knees,
dude. It's, if there was ever a moment where I would just be like, please take me under your wing, show me, shelter me, like that's there right there.
Matt Mercer. Okay, that's good to know.
I'm gonna honestly, I'll say it right here, change everything. Like if alternate reality, I would have two dads, and it would be
You got Poo Poo Polly.
I got Poo Poo Polly.
You got-
I would have Matt Mercer and Brennan Lee Mulligan, and then my father, who could be like an uncle or something. I don't know.
Sorry, Paul. It was nice to meet you that one time, by the way.
Yeah, get in the comments, Paul.
Fuck you, son.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So then I also put in like actually recently Neil Newbon plays Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3, which I don't think you've actually played yet, but you should. It's fantastic. Also is I caught it immediately. Is the voice for the new trailer for the new book for D&D for Vecna, and does like the voice of Vecna in the like trailer like thing for it.
Huh.
Beautiful, fantastic. Also put in we did Keith David. Have you seen Futurama?
No.
Oh, get on that. Write that down. Futurama is a show. I think it's on Hulu right now. It is so funny and dumb, but dumb funny, but not like Dumb and Dumber funny. Like between super stupid and intelligent funny.
Okay.
Like it's very, very good.
I see what you're saying.
It's fantastic. I don't even want to spoil anything for you. Just trust me on it.
Okay.
You'll love it.
Futurama.
And then what else? So I wrote down our link might be Doom Guy. And then I really did want to dive into the Legend of Zelda timeline.
Please,
because I realized that there might be more games out there that I have not played yet.
Oh yeah, because there's a bunch for the original or like the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. It was the platforms that kind of kept me from playing the games.
Really?
Yeah, I mean I just didn't have them.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it was like even with like God of War, like I didn't play. I think it was like Ascension or something, whatever it is. But it was only for the PSP. I didn't have a PSP, so I couldn't play the game.
I actually did play. I only played the original, and then I haven't played the newest God of War.
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Oh, woo,
man,
I've
heard
good.
So many good things.
Fantastic, and the voice acting in that is incredible.
The voice actor for Kratos. Oh my god, if I could have anyone's voice, it would either be his or like James Earl Jones.
Dude, so I don't even know why this is even a discussion on the internet, but they're trying to make a God of War movie or a TV show or something like that, whatever they're trying to do with it, right? They're trying to bring it to live action. And they're bringing up candidates as to who should play Kratos. And people are like, oh, you got to get The Rock in there, or you got to get some other big fucking hunky dude. And I'm like, there is only one person who is built and vocally set to play Kratos.
Yeah.
And is already doing it.
This is a no-brainer.
Why is this even a discussion?
I don't know.
And I'm like, what are we talking about? And people are like, no, get this guy or get, whatever. Look, get the, the hunk dude. And I'm like,
it's going to be, who it's going to be?
Sit the fuck down.
It's going to be
get
Timothée Chalamet. He's going to be Kratos.
It's going to break me if we do not like, there's an obvious answer and it should not even be in discussion. End of discussion.
Man. I didn't know they were looking to make a movie or a TV show, although I'm not super surprised, especially because of the success of the last two games.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and all the other ones before that, too. Like, I loved the first God of War game. When you, like, fall down into Hades, and, what is it? Ares throws that, like, is it just a tree? Is it just, like, some big, like, spiky thing, like, across the world? And just pins you to a door.
Oh, yeah,
right before you get Pandora's, or you have Pandora's box.
Well, you have,
or am I out of order here?
No, I think you're right, because you have access to Pandora's box, and then Ares picks up Pandora's box, but because Ares is like massive and like like the box itself grows, because Pandora's box is infinite in size and creation at all times at any given moment. It can be as small as pocket size and as big as the world. It's Pandora's box. It holds the mysteries and whatever's of everything. It's Pandora's box. But yeah, because I think it's when you open Pandora's box, you get bigger.
That's what happened
Yeah,
at the end of the game, so you
yeah,
could fight
and so you could
Ares.
fight Ares, which yeah, dude, going for Greek, like going through like all of the Greek mythology, and then like fighting your gods and everything, and then now hitting Norse mythology, which is that's my favorite domain. And now I've seen rumors that we might be now that like at the end, so I won't spoil it, but at the end of Ragnarok, some things happen.
Is
And
it like the
it
event Ragnarok?
kind of, well, actually, I will say they do stick to, if you play through the first one, Jormungandr is there, the world serpent.
Yeah.
And, but you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense because if like Ragnarok is supposed to be like so far in the future, it hasn't happened yet. Like, the world serpent shouldn't be this big and old. But then they touch on it, and
It ends up making sense.
weirdly enough, yes, because in the first game, Jormungandr recognizes you, and you're like, well, how the fuck is that possible? So not too much. It happens in the background, so if you're paying attention, you'll see it. So it's not like a spoiler or anything. But when like quote unquote like the beginning of Ragnarok kind of like starts to occur, um, Jormungandr and Thor kind of go at it so heavily that the sheer impact of Mjolnir sends Jormungandr back in time.
Wow.
Yeah, so technically the world continues, but Jormungandr is in an infinite loop.
Huh.
Yeah.
The more you know. That's
It's really cool, yeah. But
I like
I
that.
mean, I highly suggest you play the Ragnarok. It truly is fantastic. And honestly, if we don't continue any further into Norse mythology, I'm okay with it.
It'll be all right.
I think they did a fantastic job because Kratos is kind of at the point where um he's not hunting the gods down anymore. He's not getting revenge on his like Greek father or whatever like
Yeah.
that. He's not trying to kill Zeus anymore. He's just trying to
He already did.
yeah, he's just trying to fucking live his life,
Yeah.
But now he's got his kid. Um, so the new the past two games, Kratos, we all know that Kratos' original wife and child, he murdered, which
Rip.
gives him the iconic look. But in the last two games, you kind of learned that Kratos took on a new wife that he then learns was not who he entirely thought that she was, which gives his child. So his wife is a part of the Giants, so which makes his child technically also a god. So now you deal with the ramifications of Kratos doesn't just have a child. Kratos is now raising a god himself.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? And it gets emotional. It's beautiful, but it's also a fucking kick-ass game.
It
is
really
so
is.
awesome.
The moment in the first game, because I beat the first one. Is there a DLC for the first one? If there is, I
don't know.
didn't play that.
I
But
don't
either
think
way,
so. I don't think they've had DLCs for
when
those.
the Blades of Chaos are like reintroduced, oh my god, I almost shat my pants.
Oh yeah, so good, dude. And it was like, but it was that Blades of Chaos. Basically, just it's his only ties to his past that he cannot get rid of.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, obviously besides the ash and blood of his family pasted to his skin, but I mean, besides that part, like yeah, it's the thing that like ties him to all of the shitty things that he did in his past, and it's yeah, dude, it's so good.
Random thing about the first God of War game. I loved it, and it was great. It was completely different, and not completely different, but it was a very different fighting style than this new game is. And
Yeah,
so,
well, it was a button masher
yeah,
back then. Yeah, well, it still kind of is, but a little more mechanics now.
it is combat is so much harder in the new,
Yes,
like in a good way, in a way that I enjoyed, and it's not like a Dark
yeah, it's
Souls
more
level.
dynamic.
Although, like fighting the Valkyries, that was some Dark
Such a
Souls level shit.
pain in the
I
ass.
never beat the last one, and like I got a little
Oh,
frustrated.
the one
so,
in was it Niflheim or something like that? Or no, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
It's like the last Valkyrie.
in the first game, you eventually get this big sword, and or was that the second one? Either way, you get a sword as
Oh,
well
you're
as
talking about the
having.
original
Yes,
games.
this is
Oh, I see, I
so
see, I see.
now going back to those original ones, you get a sword.
Yeah, the
And
Sword of Olympus.
I immediately stopped using the Blades of Chaos. I fucking love that sword.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is
Oh,
great.
why would you not, dude?
Right, fully upgraded.
The one weapon I didn't like though were the fist like lion things, or whatever. I was just like, hey man, like, because you eventually get these iron fist things. I mean, they were supposed to be like a mechanical like reason that you would have them, because you also got like the shield, you had the fist, you had the blades of chaos, you had the sword of Olympus, and then you had like the wings of the fucking god with the wings.
You took the wings off of Hermes' shoes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you rip them off like, and it ain't his shoes. Yeah, I think even the scene was pretty crazy, because like I think you either have to catch him or you fight him. But then, yeah, you grab his wings, you put your foot on his back, and you're like, I'm gonna need to borrow these, and then you just rip them off his body.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's. I mean, those games are brutal, but they're also, I think, probably one of the most like successfully blended brutality of like Mortal Kombat mixed with the beauty and gentleness of like a well designed story, like mashed together, and you have God of War.
Oh yeah. Well, and so back in the originals, it wasn't like the graphics weren't what they are now,
Right.
obviously, but it was still, there was so much to see. And like, when you're down in Hades, there's just like, you just see bodies falling. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
there's another and another,
Yep.
and another, and then, but now it is a spectacle to look at, to play. Like, I'm so glad that I waited to get a PS4, and I got the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And just looking at the, like, you can just stop, and it's, oh, this could be like a painting.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing with Horizon. We talked about that last time.
We have to I don't know if we'll ever have to, like, I don't think we can ever stop having these episodes, because there's so many games I just want to talk to you about. Like,
we'll just keep this up.
Horizon, it'll just be I'll make all of our episodes just one consistent like playlist, and it'll just be like 60 hours of like
Times with Tom.
Yeah. Horizon did the same thing. Fantastic. Like, I always like the detail things, where like, Aloy going into, what, like the creation of, how she became to be, and then like why you're the only one that can like seemingly with ease like connect to things, figure these things out, see the details that like everyone else can, the world development. It's so fantastic.
Great games.
Absolutely fantastic. I think honestly we might actually have to save the Zelda thing for another time, but I'll tell you what.
Timeline. You know, let's next time we just start with the Zelda timeline, because
we're just gonna have to.
I'm curious, because I'll do a little bit more research between now and then as well. So
well, and I've already corrected myself. Last night I found the first Zelda timeline video that is 15 minutes and less, and I'm not going to count it as a loss, because the title of the video is entire Zelda timeline in 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you purposefully did that. Like,
they saw your video and they're like, fuck this guy.
I'll show you 15 minutes.
I'll make you wrong.
Yeah, the best part was like when that one ended, the next video was like the entire Zelda timeline, and it was like an hour 45. Yeah, dude, it's so good. I really do want to like dive into it. Because now like really listening to the whole timeline again, I was like right on the splitting of the timelines and stuff, but I was wrong on like why the splitting of the timelines.
Okay.
And it's so actually just before we end this episode, just for my own clarification.
Teaser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm gonna be curious the whole time.
So at the end of Ocarina of Time, the actual ending of Ocarina of Time is that you choose to go back to when you were a child, and you actually go back to warn Zelda that the Gerudo King, is Ganondorf, is going to try to steal the Triforce of Chaos or of power. Sorry, because in the game, which was like the core thing that I actually forgot, was that they don't all have the Triforce pieces in the beginning. It's awakened and then broken when the Temple of Time is like when you go into the Temple of Time.
Okay.
So the whole 7 years that you're non-existent in the transformation from Kid Link to Adult Link, Ganondorf takes the power, or takes the Triforce of Power, and then uses that to cause chaos.
Yeah, to take over.
Yeah.
Almost.
So when you come back, then you have the Triforce of Courage, and Zelda has the Triforce of Wisdom. So the timeline then splits when you end the game. You either you continue to, or you go back in time and you warn Zelda about this. So the original ending is that then Zelda takes the military, or whatever this world's equivalent to the military is, and they go and arrest Ganondorf.
Okay.
And then they execute him because they're like, well, we know what you're going to do in the future because a 7-year-old told us. And it just makes sense.
Yep.
So he's executed by stabbing for some reason, right through the gut, and they're like, bam, there you go.
Wow.
Which then banishes him to the Twilight Zone, which is eventually where we get into where we eventually get into Twilight Princess and everything, but we'll definitely go into that. But the one timeline that I was wrong in is the darkest timeline, which is what the timeline would look like if Link died during that battle. And that is the timeline of chaos. And it is so good. I mean, I've had this on my screen this whole time, but it is so good. But the good news is that apparently no matter which timeline you chose, they all end at a certain point, and then about 10,000 years or something in the future, when legend becomes myth and myth becomes forgotten story, you get the birth of Breath of the Wild.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's very intense, and so I definitely do want to like really do like a dive through and everything. But for the sake of time, thank you so much for being here. Please,
thanks for having me.
I would like, as I do with everyone who comes on to the show, anything that you want to plug, shout out, say, favorite phrase, what you had for dinner last night, please, do your thing.
Again, I just honestly, I want to thank you, and I want to say, I'm really proud of you for doing this, and I think that we should normalize telling our friends that we're proud of them. My wife said that, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely right, and this is really cool that you've made the jump to do this, and I'm so glad that I can be a part of it. I mean, like, this is so much fun, and we could just keep talking like this for hours and hours. It's what we've done before when we just hung out.
I was gonna say, this is not actually unusual. The only thing stopping us is the time on here. But
time
yeah,
constraints.
Thank you so much. I do. It has been a struggle for me to accept, like people saying like,
Accepting praise.
yeah, I guess. And like it's probably because it probably started in my childhood. My dad said he was proud of me for the first time the other day
I never knew
in my
my
entire
fathers.
in my entire life, Paul. Um, but yeah, no, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. This has been something I've wanted to do for like a long time, and it's really just building up the courage to, put myself out there and allow myself to be vulnerable in a sense to be able to do something like this.
Yeah.
So I really do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're killing it.
I'm going to shout out Moonstone Manor.
Yeah.
If you got a significant someone in your life and you're trying to put a ring on it, head on over, set that place up, get merrified over at the Moonstone Manor, or bring your D&D group, have a TTRPG time. If you just want a getaway and you want the best steak and eggs or whatever you make in the morning at a
Man,
bed
I
and breakfast,
wish.
I mean, please check it out. If anything, like, please go check out the website. The rooms, I got a personal tour to go through the entire mansion, and it is so cool. And
It's a house that's got a lot of character.
I told my kids that there's a room in there that goes all the way to the top. It's the one spiral one that's like connected to like the other, like the
Michelangelo Tower.
Is that what it's called?
It's a part of the P.T. Barnum family suite.
Yes, but what I love so much about it is that it's almost blocked off, or like room sectioned by like curtains and stuff. But there's like the tower part, and it is so creative and unique and beautiful. And like I was telling my kids about it, and it really does feel like you're sleeping in a fairy tale. It is really, really cool. And some of them are like what I would imagine if I were to ever get like invited to meet the queen, or I guess now king. Ooh, my bad. Some royalty shit. Like, yeah,
King Charles.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is a fantastic place. And if I don't get jealous, but boy, if I could wake up in that mansion every day, man, I'll tell you what.
It's pretty cool. We haven't slept in a ton of the guest rooms yet, honestly, because then we would have to remake the beds.
You gotta then clean it,
like, we'll just sleep in our own quarters. But the fact that we have a private quarters in a mansion, I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. For the other things, I've gotten a few questions here, so I'm gonna just kind of answer that one here. If you are a D&D lover, a TTRPG fan, or someone who loves video games and you've got a little bit of a spicy side, please go check out my wife's TikTok, Danny Reads Dirty Books. I will throw all of the links at the bottom in the description. Fantastic recommendations for incredible novels written by amazing people, and they are quite spicy. So eat some yogurt or something. You can find me on Instagram at Phoenix Stewart. You can now also, if you want to jump in on discussions, I have the Discord all set up, ready to go. It's been up for a while, but I keep forgetting to give it a shout out. Please go check that out. And jump in there, have a conversation with us. I'll always answer questions, and I always want to know what subjects you guys want to listen to or hear about, or even talk about. Kind of helps with like topics and discussions, but I also then I know what to talk about, really.
You got to give the people what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what the podcast is all about. It's for consumers by consumers, and I want to talk about the things that you want to talk about. You can also check out the YouTube page. If you are watching this, then you nailed it. But go check us out on YouTube at Who What Now Gaming. I also have a TikTok up. So search up Who What Now Gaming on TikTok. Find us there. And Who What Now Gaming on Instagram as well, to check out more of like the background things that happened during production. So other than that, oh man, almost forgot. So sorry, Noah. Please go on YouTube. Check out Nerdy Noah Reads. Nerdy Noah Reads is a YouTube channel that is really diving deep, like truly, honestly, a fantastic source of just kind of like getting yourself up to date on news articles in the TTRPG and video game world. Noah takes articles that are written and really reads them and breaks them down. Very, very it's just great information. It really is a well done channel, and I personally have been using it for almost all of my TTRPG and gaming news. It's the conversation points and breakdowns are truly so informative. So please go check that out. Again, that's at Nerdy Noah Reads on YouTube. Again, I'll throw the link down in the description. Is there anything else, Tom, that you can think of?
There's so much else that I can think of.
Besides about another 2-hour episode.
No, thanks again for having me. This is great.
Hey,
I had so much fun
being here.
The last time, the first one, there was some jitters. I didn't know I was going to be on camera.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Just it's the shock that gets me.
Yeah, but I was so excited to come back. I'm excited to be back for part 3. We're just gonna, a continuous stream of thought betwixt the two of us.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to schedule another one
for sure.
So, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tom. And until next time, I'll see you on the next one.